Japan Station is made possible in part by Patreon support. I'd like to welcome our newest patron, Ignacio. Ignacio joined the $3 a month plus alpha tier, which gives him access to Japanese plus alpha, a podcast that I'm doing about the Japanese language. It comes out on a monthly basis, and the newest episode will be coming out later this month. That will be episode 8. So if you want access to all those episodes, then you got to sign up for the $3 a month plus alpha tier at japankyo.com/Patreon. Of course, you can also sign up for $1 a month. That comes with its own perks like early access to episodes, bonus content, and versions of the episode without this long intro. So thank you, Ignacio, and let's get into the show. Welcome to Japan Station. I'm your host, Tony Vega. It's the last episode of 2020, so I just want to give a big thank you to all the listeners, old listeners, new listeners, anybody who hit the subscribe button on their podcast app of choice, anybody who became a patron over this past year. Thank you so much to all the wonderful patrons, japankyo.com/Patreon to sign up. And of course, thank you to anybody who has helped spread the word about this show. I really appreciate it. This show has been growing this past year, and I am really excited to see where things go in 2021. I have already content planned out and recorded for the next year. I'm looking forward to putting that stuff out. I'm not going anywhere. And really, I am just looking forward to seeing the show keep on growing and bringing in new listeners. And by the way, if you have any questions, any ideas, any suggestions, feel free to email me at mail@japanstationpodcast.com. I always welcome constructive criticism, ideas, feedback, input. I am always happy to try something new if I think it's going to work for the show, but sometimes you need somebody else to tell you the thing that you need to try, you know? So if you have any ideas, I welcome them. mail@japanstationpodcast.com. But one more time, thank you so much to all you wonderful listeners. I really appreciate it. And so let's get into today's episode. So my guest today is a stand-up comedian from Japan. Her name is Kilara Sen. She's been active quite a while now, quite a few years, and she's done podcasting. She does MC work in Japanese and English, but of course she does stand-up comedy in Japan. She's also performed in the United States and in Europe, like at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, very well-known festival for comedy. And she's also very active on YouTube, and so I've known about her for quite a while now. I've been looking forward to talking to her, and we have a really fun conversation today that goes into a whole bunch of stuff, including how she made the transition from the Japanese comedy industry into English language stand-up comedy. Also, her run-in with Conan O'Brien. She's got a pretty crazy story about that. So, yeah, plenty to entertain you, I think. I hope you enjoy it. Here is my conversation with stand-up comedian Kilara Sen.
The next stop is Japan Station. The doors on the right side will open.
Let's start with the high school talk that you gave recently. I'm really curious about that because it seems like it was something really positive, and I'm really curious, like, what did you talk about? How did that happen?
Okay. Actually, I've done some high school speeches like that. Is it correct to say high school speech?
I guess so. Or you spoke at a high school. I mean, either way, it's just context. Context matters, you know.
Okay.
So, but anyway, yeah, that's fine.
Okay, I gotta create a new English word. This is high school speech, okay?
Okay. So you gave a high school speech many times before.
I gave a high school speech. And actually, I've done this kind of thing several times before. But the topic has been changed a little by little. And I guess the last one was kind of best of my speech, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because maybe it's quite interesting. Thanks to COVID, it's very irony to say.
I know, yeah.
But thanks to COVID, I needed to stay in Japan whole day, whole week, whole month. So
Right.
I cannot stop thinking about Japan and Japanese culture once again, because before pandemic, I was really more focused on performing overseas, and my audience were basically Westerners or overseas audience. But as long as I'm in Japan, I saw many news happening here in Japan, and I felt like maybe I have some words I need to tell Japanese youth or something like that. And unfortunately, the rate of suicide is getting increasing. And I felt like maybe Japanese youth need more confidence or self-esteem, and also I just noticed that there are many, many people, not only Japan, but overseas, who also survived from like family issues or parents issues, and sometimes feel very melancholic or depressed.
Sure.
But now I feel happy, and I really appreciated doing what I want to do in my life. So maybe my process, it was not easy, but maybe my process or my journey could help people who is now suffering from some life situation. So, and then I got an offer from a high school teacher, and she was a friend of another school's teacher where I had high school speech a few years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and maybe she got to know me not only by her friend, but also my YouTubes, especially when I posted about Black Lives Matter to Japanese audience in Japanese language. And also the high school was one of a selected high school by Japanese government, which is more focused on diversity or international education or intercultural education. So so maybe they want to bring they wanted to bring some people who can deliver the message from their experience in overseas, or some culture who knows the cultural difference, Japan and other countries or the world. So, and also, they said like the guests for that program used to be more serious person, like people from police office or
a little bit boring sometimes, maybe.
well,
I mean, good people, but maybe not the most exciting people.
Yeah. But this time, because of the COVID-19, students have really hard time, and a lot of school events got canceled. So students have some, students are feeling down a little bit. So they wanted to bring some people who can cheer them up, or who can entertain you, who can entertain. So, and then they chose me to bring as a guest speaker.
Oh, that's nice. So did you talk about like going to the US and going to college there and that kind of stuff, or what?
Yeah, basically yes. But the theme was stand-up comedy and intercultural understanding.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting, and it's two huge themes
Yeah.
for 1 hour speech.
I know, yeah.
But maybe one thing I really feel strong recently about Japanese culture is Japanese people are easy to judge another people if someone was different from futsu, which means standard. So as you know, Japan is really homogeneous country, and most of them have the same process in the life, like at the age of 20, or at the age of 2020, no.
22?
22, yes, that's what I wanted to say.
Yes.
At the age of 22, most of them graduate from university, and then they started working, and But once somebody got different way, or somebody couldn't take the way by any reason, people start judging people.
Yeah,
Like,
that happens,
so, and then it makes the people who couldn't take the futsu way, who couldn't take the standard way, more depressed, or have lower self-esteem.
Right.
But as I'm doing stand-up comedy, I just noticed the kind of experience for me is kind of a treasure and a gift as a comedian. Or I learned so much things from this kind of experience, and above all, I could be more generous to anybody. And now I don't get surprised by seeing any kind of people, and I'm just getting interested in various people. And if someone took another way from Japanese standard, I was like, why, or how did it happen? And it sounds really interesting, and maybe it has some good sides, it might have some bad sides, but I really want to know. So maybe getting to know real people, or getting to know some different lives should be kind of diversity, the meaning of diversity. That's how I think. So I really wanted to tell this to Japanese young people.
Yeah. I mean, for you as a comedian, when you put yourself out into a different new situation, of course, that's a funny story for you, but you're also like opening yourself up to a new experience, new kind of person, new different people and all that stuff. So I'm sure you learn a lot, like, for example, going to college in the US and that kind of stuff. So yeah. So, okay. So then, like I said, like a couple times now. So, you came to the U.S. to Virginia, I believe, right? And you studied at a historically Black college university, HBCU, right?
Yes, HBCU
and,
pride.
But you had no idea. You didn't know. You just showed up, and then you were like, "Oh wow, I wasn't expecting this," right?
Yes, that's true. That is the real. Yeah, that's the reality.
So how was it like learning English? Like, what was the most beneficial aspect to you? Was it ultimately just talking to people? Did classes work, or were you trying to do comedy too? Like, what was best for you?
So first of all, I was at Black College for a short term, not whole 4 years. Actually, I graduated from a Japanese college here in Japan, so it was kind of exchange student though. And honestly, the year I was at Black College, maybe I could understand 20% of the whole conversation which I had by language. But I felt more connected with music, dancing, or, I had so much fun with a lot of friends, and I still connect with those friends, and maybe they will be surprised at my English now. Oh my God, Kilara speaks English much better than at the time. But anyway, back then. Anyway, but maybe for my English skill, the thing which was most helpful was comedy. And
listening and writing your own material, or how did that process go?
Listening. And the interesting thing is learning language should be also learning culture or learning their perspectives. And that's what I also tell Japanese high school students. Anyway, as you can see, my English is still like this.
Well, look, hey, my Japanese isn't perfect, so hey, you do amazing things in English. You host shows, you host podcasts, you do stand-up comedy. So, I mean, you prove that, yes, you don't have to be 100% Oxford English to be able to have a career and do amazing things. So,
But Anyway, so I think the most important thing is to understand what people think in other countries or how I can connect with those people in English. And it's really weird, but because my English is very limited, I can choose very pure words connecting to my feeling or connecting to what I'm thinking or what I want to try to tell. And I can deliver my concept more directly. And English jokes are more logical than Japanese jokes, I think. Actually, even in Japanese, I'm really funny girl, but it's quite different when I tell something funny in each language. And luckily, English is more logical. So when I say something funny, I just put the structure in funny way with my limited words. So with understanding their culture or their concept, I got an idea in my mind.
Right.
And if I want to tell this in funny way, I just structure it in funny way with limited words. And I can tell what I want to say very directly.
Right. That's
Yeah.
interesting. So would you say then that, I mean, of course there's always exceptions, but Japanese comedy is more like about being silly and kind of nonsensical and kind of random? Is that the comparison, the difference?
Yeah, that's really good understanding, I think. So I really respect both culture, both comedy culture, and sometimes I mix them. But yeah, in Japanese comedy, in Japanese case, what did you say?
Nonsensical.
Nonsensical. Yes,
Yeah.
nonsensical. Nonsensical things really work well in Japanese comedy because I think, as I said before, Japan has, for example, if I come up on the stage wearing white apron and wearing a palm, every Japanese audience should understand, oh, that should be mother.
Right.
So if I do something or if I show up in a specific costume, people easily understand what the situation is.
Assumptions, right?
Assumption,
like,
yeah.
They immediately assume that, oh, this is what it is, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think it's more easy, or that's how Japanese comedy grows. That's how Japanese comedy is more nonsensical.
Yeah. Right.
Nonsensical was correct.
Nonsensical, yeah. That's correct, yeah.
Yes. So, well, but I think it sometimes works even in English.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so speaking about like Japanese comedy versus like stand-up, I was watching a video that you did with Nobita from Japan on YouTube. You did an interview, and then you also did a manzai routine. With him.
Yeah, it was really fun.
It was a good video. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed both. And then in the interview, you mentioned that you actually performed on Enta no Kami-sama.
Oh, yeah.
Right? That's a very well-known Japanese like comedy program they have on like manzai groups and konto groups. And they, I've watched episodes. So, so was that, so after you go back to Japan and you decide you want to do comedy, you go into Japanese style comedy? Is that what happened?
Yes. Yes. Because even since when I was a little kid, my hero was a Japanese famous comedian. And I really wanted to be like him. So my life goal was to become a comedian since when I was 7 or 6 years old.
Yeah.
So after coming back to Japan, by coincidence, I got a connection with a comedian who had the comedy group, which I would join later. And then he liked me and he chose me as a member of the group. So, yeah, it's just coincidence.
Okay, okay. So were you doing skits or manzai? Like, what were you doing?
Um, it's very difficult to explain Japanese comedy to Westerners, actually. It's a mixture of manzai, music, and sketch.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because like even the manzai routine that you did in that Nobita from Japan video was kind of like half skit, half manzai. It was kind of like a mix of both.
Yeah. And we also put music. We also singing.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
So were you singing too then?
Yeah. Yeah. But it's not so much professional singing, it's just comedic singing, you know?
Right,
Yeah,
right.
But, goruda, yeah, yeah, goruda, something like that.
There's a lot of singing in Japanese comedy.
Yeah, so many. But
Or like not quite singing but kind of like chanting. Almost.
Yes.
Like, there's a lot of
and
that.
in this song, there is furi and boke and tsukomi.
Oh,
So the structure
wow.
is totally manzai, but we put it into a music style, singing.
That's really creative. That's cool.
And also we
Oh.
also danced, and yeah, but we
So-
didn't get successful.
Well, very few people manage to get quote unquote successful. I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah. So with that group, then you were able to get on Enta no Kami-sama, right?
Yes, but it's just lucky though. So yeah, one of the members just left the group, and the group also had some offers from TV, and they really need to find another person to fill in.
Oh, okay.
And then I was chosen, but I was super shiroto, super amateur at the time.
Amateur, I
Yeah,
guess,
so
or a beginner.
I was
Yeah.
scolded every day.
Oh.
It was kind of power harassment if it was in 2020, but it's very normal in Japanese comedy training.
Yeah,
So
I've heard that.
you are terrible, or you're just piece of shit. Or
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah, I've heard plenty stories of like that.
Yeah, it was really hard time. Yeah.
Huh. So, did you decide like I'd rather just do something by myself? Is that how you? Part of the reason why you ended up going into more of the stand-up comedy routine?
Half yes, half no. When we had a gig at the show pub, do you know what show pub is?
Show pub. I'm not sure I've heard that term.
It's a mixture of comedy club and
And like a bar or something like that, like a.
show stage.
Oh, okay. Almost like a cabaret club in English, where you have like a show, a performer on stage while people are like eating and drinking.
Yes, perfect. And which is more focused on comedy. So we had impersonators and manzai, and there are a lot of type of comedians in the club. And we had a gig at the club, and as I said, I had been scolded almost every day. And then
Right.
the leader of the group all of a sudden told me to do an opening act by myself.
Okay.
He said,
That's okay.
you don't know how serious this business should be. So just stand up on the stage by yourself. All of a sudden he told me to do an opening act. And then
Oh, yeah.
I was so nervous, and I just freaked out. And what? I don't know what I should do. But I just jumped out on the stage and, hey everyone, how are you doing? And so I did some MC and some ippatsuge.
just a quick interruption here in case you're not aware what an ippatsuge is. That is what Kilara just said right now. An ippatsuge is basically any sort of thing that you might do, let's say at a party, like a party trick that would entertain someone, right? That is a rather vague explanation, but this can run the gamut from some sort of silly, nonsensical joke that is basically like a one-liner. It might be just a few seconds long, some kind of funny impersonation, maybe a really short skit, or some kind of magic trick / joke. A lot of times you have to do these ippatsuge when you're introducing yourself at a party. These are very, very common also in the Japanese comedy industry, especially like the nonsensical, really silly ones that might involve puns or funny words or rhyming words or chanting. Again, they're very short, usually just a few seconds long. But anyway, let's get back into Kilara's story.
It went really well. It was so overwhelmed. And then,
Really?
yeah.
Wow, that's great.
And also the leader said, oh my God, maybe you should be much better if you do by yourself. And you have
Wow.
talent and you have an aura as a comedian. So maybe
Oh.
being yourself or doing alone should be your way. And then besides the comedy group, I started solo acting too. And that's how I started my solo comedy act, actually.
Wow.
Yeah. But actually, when I was doing the kind of solo acting or comedy group, I felt a little bit unsatisfied because I just came back from America and I saw some great stand-up comedians and I was really impressed by them, and I was like, I really want to do stand-up comedy sometime. And once I came back to Japan, the comedy styles and the atmosphere are quite different from English stand-up comedy. And also, I was really poor at the time. I was not successful at the time.
Many comedians are. I think most comedians are.
Yeah. So I was like, is it really what I need to do?
Yeah.
And maybe there should be another thing I need to work on or something.
Yeah.
And then I looked up stand-up comedy in Tokyo. There is a group in Tokyo for stand-up comedians, and they held open mics. And then I was like, oh my God, stand-up comedy is in Japan too. And then I started stand-up comedy a little by little. That's how I started stand-up comedy. And then a few years later, I met a American actor coming to Japan, and he advised me to do stand-up comedy. He advised me to focus on stand-up comedy, not with Japanese comedy. He said, that should be what you do. So, and then stand-up comedian Kilara Sen was born.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. No, that's really interesting that, I mean, I guess at least that the guy from your comedy group, he was able to recognize that, okay, I guess there is something, you have talent, there's something good there, instead of just like being like, oh, I'm still better than you, blah, 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 after, you know. Yeah. Oh, well, at least there was that.
Yeah.
Even though he,
Right.
he was kind of an asshole to you before that.
Yeah, but I really thank him now. Yeah.
Huh. Well, I'm glad you found what you wanted to do in the end. So
Yes.
that is awesome. That is awesome.
Destiny.
Yes. So I know, of course, you organize like open mics and you do your own shows and stuff, but what has this 2020 been like? Have you been able to do shows? Have you been busy? What have you been up to?
Okay. So at one moment, especially in March, everything was gone. So everything was canceled, and even I thought about finding another job, finding a day job. But luckily, I started hosting a show about Japanese whiskey. So of course my job is to drink whiskey. So now I can call myself workaholic.
Yeah.
I finally became family pride.
Yeah. It's a show where you interview people about like whiskey makers, and then you sprinkle in some Japanese culture and just your own little kind of almost like comedy routines, like little segments in there too, right? So
Yes.
30 minutes. I was watching an episode yesterday. It's a lot of
thank you so much.
a lot of work.
Yes, it was. Yeah, a lot of work, and especially during the lockdown, the real lockdown, the first lockdown, the most serious lockdown term. We did it every week.
Right.
So that was my first experience writing monologue and writing a sketch and filming and editing, and interviewing people. All by myself. That was really tough. But actually, the final editing is done by another people. So we have a crew. But especially for my monologues or sketch, the timing or... So I've done my YouTube too. So I know what timing to cut is the most funny in my case, So I've done a little bit editing. So it was quite busy, especially during the lockdown.
Right.
And after the situation got a little lifted, I pitched the client some ideas. Like, because now I am in Japan, there should be some things I can do as a whiskey YouTube channel or whiskey online TV. So the episode hasn't come out yet, but we went to some distilleries in Japan. So we had an interview and we went there and I report the distillery. Yeah. So the kind of things are now going on. And the event, I'm also doing bilingual MC, Japanese and English. So some Japanese clients started working on some events online. So now they are looking for some bilingual hosts, and I do some hosts too.
Oh, okay. So I know you were going to do a solo show back in March. Did that end up getting canceled?
I did it.
Oh, you did it?
I
Okay.
did it, yeah.
So that must have been like right before things got really serious.
Yes. That was the last timing I could have my own show. And I already, even at the time, I already had some backlashes or some opinions. And I understood it. So I bought some alcohols and... It's really weird. My show's title was No Mask Required. But this title was made for Edinburgh Fringe last year, so before pandemic. So although the show's title was No Mask Required, I required them all to wear a mask. That was mandatory.
So the title of the show was No Mask Required, but the mask was not about the face mask that we use now because of the pandemic. It was more of like a metaphorical mask. You already had that title?
When I put the title for Edinburgh show, it was kind of double meaning because Japanese people don't tell the truth so much. They hide their feelings in mind, like honne and tatemae.
Gotcha. Right. Yeah.
So, but I just want to speak up. I just want to speak up.
Oh,
that's why I said no mask required.
That's so funny that the meaning would change. Like now it sounds like you're like an anti-mask person.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I was like Karen in Florida, right? No, I don't wear mask. No.
Oh, that's great.
I'm very common sense person.
Yeah.
So.
Backlash. Yeah, I'm sure you would have gotten. Yeah.
That was mandatory. Yeah, that was mandatory.
No mask required. Wear a mask.
Wear a mask.
Oh, that's great. But anyway, I was also going to ask you about you were on like a British TV show recently. What, like Hollywood Eats Japan? I think is what it was called, right?
Paul Hollywood Eats Japan.
Okay. What did you do? Did you like eat something with him? Because I know he's like a celebrity chef, right? From England. Yeah.
Paul Hollywood is really good looking guy. He's my future husband, I believe.
So did you get to have a meal with him?
Oh yeah, during the shooting.
Oh, okay. So then what did you do on the actual show?
Okay, so he came to Japan and he traveled over Japan and some Japanese comedians toured him, guided him around the area. And I was in charge of Tokyo area, so we went to some tourist spots like Shinjuku or Roppongi and also he was interested in some Japanese bread. So we tasted some bread and we also went to very nice tempura restaurant. And
Nice.
so basically food culture. And I think in another prefectures he tried some more cultural things like a festival or I don't know. I couldn't watch other people's parts
Yeah.
because it was not aired here in Japan. But yeah, he tried a lot of things here in Japan. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw one clip where he was eating like kaiseki ryori in Kyoto.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But I couldn't find yours, unfortunately.
Actually, my video is on my YouTube.
Oh.
I think there is a playlist which is called TV or Media Kit or something.
I will check it out.
Yeah,
and
but
I'll put it in the show notes as well.
Yeah, actually, it's really difficult to find it. Maybe it's not open. It's not public one. Maybe the TV creative team, creative
that's
company.
why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I'll take a look at the playlist. All right, so just one last thing that I really want to ask you about because I love Conan O'Brien. I went to New York specifically to watch him before he left New York because of course several years ago he left New York to go to LA to do the show over there.
Yeah.
But yeah, before he left, I specifically went to New York to watch him there. But
cool.
yeah, so I've been watching Conan since I was too young to be watching comedy like that. But
wow, fantastic.
yeah, so I know you have an interesting experience with Conan when he went to Japan. Was it in 2019 or 2018? When was it?
Oh, 2018 maybe?
Maybe,
It
yeah.
should be 2 years ago. It's not last year, I think. So
Yeah,
maybe 2
yeah,
years, 2 to 3 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
So what happened? How, you
fantastic.
tried to track him down, right, when he was visiting?
Yes. So first of all, I saw my friend's post
Uh-huh.
from Harajuku.
Yeah.
He met Conan O'Brien on Takeshita Dori in
Oh, man.
Harajuku. And he was doing live with Conan O'Brien. And he was like, oh my God, Conan is in Tokyo. Oh my God. And I was like, oh my goodness. And I really wanted to hand my deal to the kind of TV shows. So, oh my God, I really want to meet this team and Conan O'Brien. So I asked my friend, so do you know where he went after Harajuku? And he said, oh, Conan said Conan is going to Roppongi after this. And I went to Roppongi and I walked around in Roppongi all night to find him. But I couldn't find him.
Yeah.
And I just noticed he was already having break at his hotel. Later. So, and then I just researched his post and his Twitter. And a few days later, he said he's going to Conan Town in Tottori Prefecture.
Tottori, yeah. So
Yeah.
I think because the big thing was he got into this kind of almost like an fake argument with the mayor of Conan Town because Meitante Conan, Detective Conan was from there, and he was saying, no, I should be called Conan Town because it's me, I'm the real Conan. And it was a whole argument with the mayor, and it was a funny joke, but that was the excuse to go to Japan, right?
Yes. And I took train or midnight bus. I don't remember.
Oh man, from Tokyo?
Yeah, from Tokyo.
That's all night.
Yes. And I went to Tottori, and he should be coming to. I was like, he should be coming to city office in Conan Town. So I gotta wait for him. And then I went to the city office, but he didn't arrive at the time which supposed to be. So, oh my God, what's he doing? What's he doing? And there are so many people coming from Tottori and Shimane and also even Tokyo. There are some friends of mine.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was like, oh my God, what am I doing here? And yeah, he said the same thing as you. Like, I'm a big fan of Conan O'Brien. And it was really fun. And a few hours we waited for him. And some people said Conan O'Brien arrived at the wrong airport.
Oh.
So we couldn't pick him up. And so that's why we are late. And oh my God. And then he arrived at the city office and the people were so overwhelmed. Like, oh my God, Conan! Yay! So, and after having an interview with the mayor of the city, he went to the Conan Town's train station and you know, he brought a lot of beef, right?
Oh.
Hamburgers, right?
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yes.
Yeah. So there was a tent. Yeah, there was a tent, like a hamburger hamburger tent, so free hamburger.
I love that.
So a lot of people already in queue, but most of the Japanese people don't know what's happening. But
right, most people don't know who Conan is. Yeah.
But people are like, oh, I just heard free hamburger can be served. I can get free hamburger here. And then Conan O'Brien finally appeared, and the people, oh my God, Conan O'Brien! Even Japanese people who didn't know him were like, oh my God, yay! Very famous American people. And the mayor of the city was also funny guy, and
really?
he was really nice guy, and so he had they had a roast battle at the station. But it was really fun, and I really wanted to hand my deal, and I really wanted to talk with him. So
like a demo, nice. like a demo of your
demo reel.
Okay.
So I got contact. I still keep in touch with those teams, and nice. They're really nice people, and it was really impressive that Conan O'Brien stayed the place for all day.
Wow.
So, you know, big celebrity. There are some big celebrities. Just say hi and
that's it.
Having a speech and talk with some people, blah blah blah, and he left. But Conan O'Brien stayed there almost whole day, and then talked with local people, and he was super nice guy. And he really encouraged me to do stand-up comedy and never give up, and
that's nice.
Just hard work will be paid off, so don't give up, just keep on. Super nice guy.
Really that part it's a 1 hour episode where he's in Japan, and that part is all the way at the very end. It's not that long, so he could have just gone, filmed it, and left. But no, that's great. That's nice. Oh, I'm so glad you got to meet him. I got to see him from like maybe 10, 20 feet away. I didn't actually get to talk to him, but if only I had been in Tottori.
Definitely. Yeah, so many ASL, sorry, what was the term of the English teachers program?
ALT.
ALT, sorry. ALT. So a lot of ALT teachers
of course.
around the prefectures came to see Conan O'Brien.
Yeah. And that's
It was
a pretty
fantastic.
rural area of Japan. So
Yes.
I remember like Totori would often get made fun of because no, it was really big news when they got their first Starbucks, and that was like a few years ago.
Right. So it's so surprising.
It's so like you would never expect that Conan would go there.
Yeah. That was so interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So what if people want to, keep track of what you're doing, like where's the best place to go?
Okay, so now I'm joining some comedy shows held in U.S. comedy clubs online. Yeah, so those information is on my Facebook page, Kilaracomedy, 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 and also I have my YouTube channel. So I post new video almost once a week, and also do Instagram. And I currently just started TikTok.
Oh, really?
So, yes.
Oh, I didn't know that. Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just started, so I'm still learning, but
Yeah.
I post some impersonation or short sketches. Yeah,
that's
so
nice.
Please stick with my channel and please follow my social medias, Kilaracomedy. Everything is Kilaracomedy.
Awesome.
And I will be your pink unicorn. Yeah.
Yep. So I will include all those links in the show notes, of course. But thank you, Kilara. I've known about your work for many years now. Before you were called Kilara, I think, or at least I did. First, I learned you were using a different name.
Yes.
Yeah. So I've been wanting to talk to you for a long time, but I'm glad I waited because you have even more stories now. So
Thank you so much. 本当ありがとうございます。It was really fun.
Of course, all the links to Kilara's social media and her YouTube channel will be in the show notes, which you can access via japanstationpodcast.com or your podcast app of choice. But if it doesn't work with HTML, then you might get a jumbled mess. So if that does happen to be the case, then you have to go to japanstationpodcast.com to find all that stuff. I will also throw in a few videos, such as that video that I mentioned where Kilara and Nobita from Japan, a YouTuber, they perform a manzai routine together. It's pretty funny stuff. I will also throw in a video from the Team Coco YouTube channel because, of course, Team Coco is Conan O'Brien's YouTube channel. And that will be a clip from Conan's 1 hour special where he goes to Japan. And it's the last few minutes of the special where he arrives in Hokue town, meets the mayor of that town in Tottori Prefecture. And those hamburgers that Kilara mentions also make the appearance. It's a pretty funny clip. It's about 4 or 5 minutes. If you haven't seen that, go check it out. It's pretty funny. And of course, there's plenty more clips from Conan's trip to Japan as well. If you have any questions or comments, though, you can reach me at mail@japanstationpodcast.com. Follow on Facebook and Twitter. Remember to hit that subscribe button on your podcast app of choice. Leave a rating and a review if you can. That would be great. And of course, thank you to Unami for providing the theme song to Japan Station. That does it for this episode. Episode 56 will be out on January 1st. And currently, I am not sure who the guest will be because I already have one recorded, but I'm trying to get someone else as well. So I'm juggling those two guests at the moment. Either way, it's going to be a fun one, so come back for that. Also, if you haven't checked out Ichimon Japan yet, go check that out. That is my other podcast. And the latest episode is all about yakitori. For example, this is a little bit of the information that you get to learn. We talk about the difference between yakitori written in hiragana and written using kanji. Apparently, there is a difference in meaning there. And if you want to find out what that is, then you got to go over to japanki.com/ichimonjapan or look it up in your podcast app and listen to that episode. It's a pretty fun one, packed to the brim with tons of information. And it's going to leave you wanting to eat yakitori if you're into that sort of thing. So again, Ichimon Japan. So again, thank you for listening. And remember, go find your miniature pony.
Just do it!
Hey, Tony here. So just a little reminder here at the end of the show. everything that I produce via japankyo.com is independently produced by me. So I put in the time, the effort, the money. And although I am not complaining at all, I love all the stuff that I'm getting to do through japankyo.com, producing the podcast from beginning to end. It's great, great stuff. And I feel honored that I get to do a lot of stuff that I get to do. But like I said, it does take time and money. And so if you want to make sure that this is a financially viable thing for me to do, then you can do a few things to financially support the show. You can become a patron over at japankyo.com/Patreon, or you can go to kimitodesigns.com, pick up a t-shirt or a hat or whatever else I have on sale there. Or you can do something else that won't cost you anything extra at all. But the next time you do your shopping on Amazon, just use the japankyo.com/Amazon affiliate link. And like I said, it won't cost you anything extra, but a tiny percentage of whatever you buy will come over here so that I can keep paying for hosting and doing the various things that I do here. I know times are tough, so if you can't become a patron or whatever, that is totally fine. I just hope that you are getting entertainment and information and you are just enjoying the stuff that I'm putting out. That is the ultimate reward for me. But for those of you who can afford to support the show, well then, there you go. You know what to do. All right? As always, thank you for listening and see you next time.